Hi, and welcome to another episode of Better Golfer Today, presented by Tyler Dice Golf. We have another great show planned for y'all this week. As always, I try and give you the best information and content that I can. And if I give advice or tips, rest assured, they are tips and advice that I've personally taken and used, or I have first-hand account of those tips and advice working. Now, this week's main topic is going to be on the state of golf. As always, I'll be sharing what I'm working on, and this week's tip of the week is a good one. So let's get started on the main topic, the state of golf. Depending on who you ask, golf is doing okay, it's strong, or it's really struggling. And to be honest, it's actually all of those things. The retail side of things is a struggle, especially in a lot of traditionally strong markets. People are buying less new clubs than when they do, they are buying the less expensive models or the previous year's models to save a few bucks. Because let's be honest, most of the new equipment that comes out isn't that much better than the old stuff. Sure, some of it is great, and I'm fairly certain all of it is actually better. But is 3 more yards off the tee going to push you into a new driver? A new $500, $600, $700 driver? Probably not. Are new irons that go a few more yards going to set you apart from the rest of the guys in your group? I don't know. It's probably doubtful. And so on the club side of things, golf isn't doing that great. And if you go to the PGA Merchandise Show, you will see the same trend. Hard goods make up a really small part of the actual show now. That's not how it traditionally was. Traditionally, hard goods was a massive part of the show. Now you're seeing soft goods have seen an incredible, massive, huge increase in their presence at the show. Adidas, Under Armour, even Nike, Travis Mathew, Columbia, etc., 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 etc. all have big displays, and I expect them to have big displays again this year. But even now, you're seeing a decline in soft goods. But I don't think that is because of golf. I think that is more about the current state of retail in general. Jumping over to golf courses. How many new ones have been built in the U.S. in the last few years? Can you think of any? The answer is just a couple. Just a handful of golf courses have been built. Now, overseas, over in China and in Southeast Asia, there's been a bunch more golf courses get built. And the reason you're not seeing any golf courses get built in the United States is because we overdid it. In typical American fashion, we overdid it. We said, hey, there's a boom in golf, let's keep it rolling. And to the nth degree, we took it. And we built all the golf courses we could build and fit into areas that really shouldn't have had as many golf courses built as were built. And so... so again, the last couple of years, we've only seen a couple of golf courses get built. Now, the ones that have been built are really, really nice tracks. I mean, I'm talking about primo golf courses. But no new development is probably for the best. Again, golf course construction got too big too fast, and it needed a market correction. So now what you're seeing is a lot of really strong clubs and courses, and clubs that do things right. Those are the ones that are doing well financially. And the ones that aren't doing things correctly aren't doing well financially. And so being a golf pro right now isn't the greatest job to be in. You work a lot of long hours, you don't get paid a lot, and there are a lot of people trying to get your job. So it's just not a good position to be in. Think about it. There's a lot of 22-year-old kids that are coming out of college that got a degree just to work in a golf shop. I mean, we're talking about hundreds of kids a year, maybe even thousands of kids a year. Those kids want a job, and let's be honest, some money is better than no money, which means that if somebody is willing to work your job for a lot less money than you're willing to work it, you could be on the way out. So it's not a great job being a golf pro right now, especially at a golf course, especially at a struggling golf course, right? You got bills to pay, right? You got overhead. Salaries are always a big part of the overhead, and you can hire a 20-something-year-old and keep getting by, and that's what a lot of golf courses are doing. And so there's a lot of reasons the golf industry is the way it is. Some could argue that back in its quote-unquote heyday, people could get a quote-unquote deal on equipment if they knew a guy or went to one of those massive retailers in Myrtle Beach, essentially. Again, we've probably all done it. And it was great. You go to Myrtle Beach, go to one of the big places down there, and you could almost always find golf equipment a little bit cheaper there than you could anywhere else. And so people would always buy stuff. Growing up, whenever I knew someone was going to Myrtle Beach, when they came back from Myrtle Beach, almost always had some new club in their bag. And now when I find out people are going to Myrtle Beach, no one's buying clubs anymore. And it's scary. And part of that, I think the reason is the companies fix their prices. And if you sell for less than, say, their maximum advertised price, you could potentially lose your account with them. And so that stinks for people. I guess it's great for the club companies, but it stinks for people. And don't get me wrong, I mean, everybody loves a deal, and no one likes paying full retail for everything. At least, I mean, I don't like paying full retail for everything. And maybe concentrating on their own brand for decades, and not the consumer, has alienated the consumers in general. I mean, I'm just speculating here, but I mean, if you only care about your own product and you don't care about the people buying your product, then maybe the people buying your product don't necessarily want to care about you anymore. So again, I'm just speculating, but that could be part of the reason. Now, that being said, TV golf has had some of the best fields it's had in America. There are some really, really, really impressive stars to watch, and almost all of them are willing to interact with you. That's something the game didn't have for a while, and I think it's nice to see it come back. A lot of the pros from yesteryear always talked about how they interacted with fans all the time, and then for about a 15-year stretch, it kind of dwindled and went away. And it's nice to see that that's coming back. All the top stars take time for the fans. Some of them take hours every day for the fans, which is really, really impressive. And if you look at the purses on the PGA Tour, they're the strongest they've ever been, which is something you can't say about the European Tour. You might end up seeing a merger of the two tours in the future. The PGA Tour model is just so much stronger, and you could actually see more of the world with a European swing around the British Open, and maybe an Asian swing during the fall, and maybe an Australian swing during the winter months. Who knows? It could be incredibly exciting. I know I'd be down to watch more great golf over the off-season, quote-unquote off-season of golf, which is, as I record this podcast, which is kind of what it is right now. We still have a few more events left in the season, but again, the golf season for the PGA Tour is dwindling down. And so across the board, golf has its ups and downs. Parts of the market are growing and doing great. Others are obviously struggling. The retail side of things definitely needs to get things figured out. Otherwise, you could see a massive contraction on that side of things. Clubs need to be better and offer an obvious advantage. The clothing in the golf side of things, in my opinion, has never been better. They are treating golfers like athletes and are giving them clothes that allow them to perform at their highest levels. This wasn't the case even in the early 2000s, so it's nice to see the strides they've made. But how many people are willing to pay $100 for a pair of pants? Especially a pair of pants that they're going to get dirty, or $100 for a shirt that will wear out in the season. Especially when the cost of those are like $7 or whatever, right? I mean, crazy. The golf course side of things has been and will continue to be up and down. As long as there are mismanaged golf courses, we will keep seeing them close, which is unfortunate because there have been some beautiful courses that are no longer with us. I hope things get sorted out in the golf professional side of things. I think it's terrible that kids are spending tens of thousands of dollars on a degree to work in a golf shop that pays $30,000 a year. I can't believe schools charge that much for that, and I can't believe kids pay that much for that. And on top of that, we are seeing literally thousands of kids that are coming into a workforce that is contracting in the number of available jobs, but growing in the number of job applicants. That's just not a great situation to be in. Now, I love golf, And what we're trying to do in TDG is different than most in the golf industry. We are about new opportunities and offering a non-traditional way of improving. And I hope that comes across in what we offer. And I hope you get a lot out of my podcast and enjoy listening to them, because we are all about creating new avenues here with TDG. We're not about piggybacking on the old ways. We're about creating something new and something better for everyone. We don't want to take anything away from anyone. We want to just make it better for everyone. And so that's essentially the state of golf as we know it. So let's talk about what I'm working on. Currently, I'm still working on getting my shoulders steeper in this swing. It's kind of been a couple-week process. Yeah, don't ask why. Mostly because it's kind of colder outside and the rain sucked. So that's been keeping me away from the golf course. So I'm still working on that. And I'm also still working on my results-oriented stuff, like getting the ball closer to the hole with my short game and getting out of bunkers better and making more putts inside 12 feet. So still working on all that fun stuff. Now let's talk about the tip of the week. I told you I had a good one. And so this tip is going to be on helping with colder temperatures. Now, as I record this podcast, winter is right around the corner. And the temperatures are dropping. Yeah, seriously, like getting cold. I went and visited my in-laws this weekend, and it was like 29 degrees up there. I know it's colder in some other places, but to me, 29 degrees is chilly. So, yeah, the temperatures are dropping. So remember, when the temperatures drop, so does your golf ball. Shots play longer now than they did in the summer. Remember, colder air and softer turf conditions means the ball flies shorter. What do you think? Why do you think the players in the PGA Tour hit the ball so far compared to everyone else? Especially European Tour players playing overseas. The European guys play in softer, cooler conditions for most of the year. So take an extra club to make up for the difference. And as a good rule of thumb, the ball flies 1 to 3 yards less for every 10 degrees Fahrenheit under 70 degrees Fahrenheit. And add another yard for every extra layer of clothing. So if you have a jacket on and it's 45 degrees outside, expect the ball to fly roughly 5 to 10 yards less. And if the ground is soft, bump that up to 10 to 14 yards. Okay? It's pretty crazy, right? So I hope that helps. Again, that's kind of a rough guesstimate. Figure it out, the specifics on your own, but that should help kind of gauge where you should be. And again, if there's no trouble short of the green, it's better off playing it a little short. You may have to chip, but it's better than going over the green where there is trouble. And so that's all we have for you this week. Again, thank you so much for tuning in. I really appreciate you guys listening to my podcast. And I hope this one was a nice little change of pace with the state of affairs in golf. So have fun playing and practicing, and we'll see you next week.